However, the timing and the cost of such relocation is a protracted and complex challenge. Yet our port is engaged in doing just that. The board of the Port Authority is committed to a relocation, and we are working with our partners, the City of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County, as well as state and federal government, to create a new port at the site adjacent to East 55th Street. The new port will be a deep water facility on new land to be created from the silt and other materials resulting from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers dredging of the federal shipping channels in our existing harbor, the federal shipping channels in our existing harbor and the Cuyahoga River. Today, the Port Authority operates on approximately 70 acres, but the prospect of expanding those operations is quite limited. The existing site is bounded by a football stadium and museums. A new port of 200 acres will provide additional land for primary port operations, but more importantly, it provides an opportunity to develop an adjacent international trade district that is on the landmass directly south of the proposed new port, stretching from 18th Street to East 18th Street to East 72nd Street. Over 1,000 acres of underutilized industrial land will be redeveloped by private and public capital. In fact, it is the investment by the private sector in the International Trade District and in port-based operations that validates the public's investment. So what is the public cost and how will it be funded? As stated, the new port is to be built on landfill created by the Army Corps as part of their federal mandate to clear existing shipping channels. As the Army Corps has done for decades, it will construct confined disposal facilities, so-called CDFs, adjacent to the existing lakefront and fill those facilities with the spoils of its dredging activity. Ordinarily, the federal government pays 70% of the project, 30% is funded by local government. The creation of 200 acres of new land is likely to cost in excess of $200 million. But these costs are just the creation of land. The cost of port infrastructure will be considerably more, additional hundreds of millions of dollars. How will this funding be secured? Whether by public or private sources, why is this relocation a compelling investment? That question brings us back to the Seaway and the current trends in international trade and transportation, as well as certain national security issues. While the political compromise that created the St. Lawrence Seaway may have prevented the largest ocean-going vessels from direct access to the Great Lakes ports, one of the results is the congestion today of coastal ports and interstate highways. And this has made the prospect of inland marine shipping, so-called short sea shipping, viable. There is an unprecedented volume of cargo from Asia to our existing seaports. The result of this so-called tsunami of goods has been a breakdown, an utter breakdown in transportation and logistics supply chain. As goods sit on ships and docks, the cost of transportation increases. Shippers and government are seeking solutions. Short sea shipping is an alternative to rail and truck. Increased shipping demand has created significant highway congestion. New highway construction is too expensive and, irrespective of cost, simply can't keep pace with demand. Short sea shipping is the solution. 20 tons of cargo transported by one typical Seaway-sized cargo ship replaces 1,000 trucks on our highways. And with the recent advances in the technology of cargo handling, it is now cost-effective and environmentally preferable to move freight from an ocean-going vessel to smaller lake vessels destined for ports like Cleveland, and then to trucks for the last miles. The same is true in comparison to rail, as a Great Lakes vessel carries the equivalent of over 600 rail cars. The Port Authority intends to capitalize on these new transportation and trade trends and has commenced discussion with potential seaports and advocates of developing domestic and international short sea routes. The Port Authority is also participating in discussions with federal officials to ensure that the Great Lakes system and Cleveland are central components of the federal government's response to seaport congestion, new transportation initiatives, and related national security concerns. Expanded port operations also create landside business opportunities in the newly created International Trade District. Over 1,000 acres of urban land will be redeveloped, new warehousing, distribution centers, original equipment manufacturing, value-added manufacturing, as well as logistics and support facilities will populate the new trade district. Why? Because proximity to a new port creates access to global capital markets, and waterborne transportation is the most cost-effective method of transportation. Now, while some public financing may be required for infrastructure improvements in the trade district, it is the private investment in the trade district that will drive its development. The prospect of hundreds of millions of dollars of new capital, even billions of dollars, is realizable. One element of return on the public's investment will be increased real estate values in the trade district and the much-needed expansion of the city's tax base. The relocation of the port from its existing location and the creation of new port land is an opportunity to change not only the size and the scope of port's operations and create a new trade district, but it's also an opportunity to remake the city's downtown lakefront. In the aggregate, this is an opportunity for our city to reuse, transform, and leverage our land and our assets. The Port Authority's existing waterfront property can become Cleveland's signature. Our city has the opportunity to create a new waterfront district. It will take time to relocate our maritime operations, but the port, in concert with Mayor Jackson and his administration, are committed to redevelop portions of our land in the near and intermediate term. We begin that initiative by creating a clear development strategy, detailing specific elements of that development: water access for the public, tourism, residential, office, retail, and open space. The process will include public engagement with our governmental and civic partners. Cleveland's vision for its waterfront district could rival the best examples in the world. Our goal, working with engaged partners, is to facilitate the emergence of Cleveland as a center of next-generation business activity with a multifaceted waterfront district accessible and connected to the central business district. The port and its existing land can be the catalyst for the solutions that our city and our region seek. Imagine, let me try that again. Imagine that the port's land becomes a world-class waterfront district integrated with the downtown business district and new development along the Cuyahoga River. Imagine the prospect of a vibrant 24-hour city center. Imagine that our city and state realize on all the potential of our Great Lakes location as companies engaged in global trade, logistics, advanced and renewable energy populate our new trade district. I know some may dismiss this as mere fantasy, and not without some justification. How many projects are hailed, maybe hailed from this particular venue, as the panacea, and then fall short of our expectations or just fail to materialize?